Cut your learning curve and reach profitability in 3 months, just 3 months. Now, this might sound bizarre, but the reason it takes traders forever to learn how to trade is majorly because they do not have a mentor. Now, in my previous videos, I have mentioned over and over and over again the importance of having a mentor, because what this does is it removes the fluff. It cuts your learning curve by 90%, depending on the kind of mentor you get, by the way. I've mentioned in my previous videos tips on how to find the right mentor. I've mentioned previously that you need to find a mentor that will hold your hand, a mentor that will have calls with you and scrutinize your trades and ensure you are on the right path and you do not deviate from your trading plan. I'll just show you a trade that I am currently in and one I closed today, just to drive the point home. Now I'll switch over to the charts. Okay, now if you look at the charts, you can see this is, okay, first, this is a chart of Euro USD. This is the hourly chart. Now I've mentioned previously that I'm both a scalper and a swing trader. Actually, a scalper, a day trader, and a swing trader. Now, you can see from the charts that I entered these trades, these three trades, a few days ago. I entered last week. Now, that's because I was waiting for price to fill this imbalance on the left here, this series of red bars, of bearish bars. Now, this is not a strategy that you will see on the internet. This is not a strategy that you will hear your gurus talk about, because I created the strategy myself. Yes, it's based on components that you might find on the internet, but the strategy itself you will not find on the internet. And that's because in my 7 years of learning how to trade, I realized that all the info that you find on the internet, all the strategies you will find on the internet, are most likely not going to work for you because they were not created for you. They were not created to suit you. It was in my 7th year actually that I started to build strategies that would suit me and work for me. That's when I found profitability. Now, the problem is when you're just learning how to trade, you don't know this, which is why you hop from strategy to strategy to strategy. Problem is, you would have spent 3 years, 4 years wasting your time, wasting your money, wasting your energy before you realize that you need to build a strategy that works for you. Okay, so back to the charts. I entered these trades. If you notice, I entered my first trade here, and then price went in my favor, or in favor of the trade, and then price went against me. Now, this is expected in my strategy. So when I enter a trade, when I enter the first leg of the trade, I am actually praying for price to go against me. I'm actually praying for price to not go in favor of the trade, because I do not enter the full size of my risk on the first leg. Okay, because I know price goes against me most of the time I enter the trade. However, there are times that it goes straight to my take profit, which is why I enter the first leg where I usually enter it. Okay, because I said that because some of you might ask, why not just wait till it goes against you before entering the trade? And that's because sometimes it doesn't go against me. Okay, so now this is through years and years of research. Okay, so I entered the first leg here. Price went in favor of the trade as expected, and then it went against me as expected. Now, my stop loss, I usually set a soft stop loss somewhere above, and that that location, the point where my stop loss is usually calculated. It's not arbitrary, okay? But it's not a hard stop loss, because a lot of the time, price actually goes to my stop loss and spikes through it, but never, okay, I can't say never, but most of the time it does not close above my stop loss, which is why I use a soft stop loss, because price reacts to where my stop loss is. Okay, so what I usually do is when the closer it gets to my stop loss, the more trades I enter. Usually there will be around 3 trades that I enter in total, because the 3 trades will make up my total risk. However, it could change depending on the setup. Okay, so I entered the first leg here, it went against me. I entered the second leg here, and then I entered the third leg here. And you can see how price went up and came back down, and I closed it here. Now, my take profit is here at the bottom here. However, being that price was doing this, it was retracing, I decided to, because after I've entered all the legs, price usually goes down quite quickly. Now, if price starts to dilly-dally, then it's giving me a signal that it might not want to go down immediately, which was why I closed all my trades, all the legs at this point. Price retraced and then started going back down again, at which point I re-entered the trade. So I got my profit from these 3 legs here, but I re-entered with one more leg here, and my take profit is still at the bottom here. So you can see it's the trade is in profit now, and it's almost guaranteed to reach my take profit. And that's because this strategy that I created has an 80% win rate. All the strategies, I currently have 7 strategies. All the strategies I create have very high win rate, and that's because they have low rewards to risk. That is how I trade. Okay, the reason I trade that way is because I want to be able to load big on a trade, because I know that it most likely is going to hit the take profit. I am not too interested in the rewards to risk being amazing. I'm not interested in a 5-to-1 or a 3-to-1 or a 2-to-1. If I can get a 1-to-1 or a 0.8-to-1, then what I can do is I can load huge risk on that trade, because I know it's 80% to 85% probable to reach my take profit. Okay, now you don't know these things. You will not know these things until you've spent years. Like I've mentioned before, this is my 16th year of trading. You will not know these things until you've spent years failing at it and trying everything under the sun to make it work. Okay, and again, the alternative is having a mentor like me that will hold your hand and show you these things and get you to profitability in 3 months. Okay, now, so I'm waiting for this to basically reach my take profit, which I expect it to, and that will be it. But again, you will not know these things except you are taught. And whatever you find on the internet will not be tailored to suit you, because they were not made for you. They were made by the person who created them for that person. That's one thing that no one seems to understand these days. You can't just pick a strategy off the internet and expect it to work for you. Yes, it might work for the 0.1% of people that whose way of thinking aligns with the way of thinking of the person that created the strategy, but it will not work for most people, which is why I have been buttressing the fact that you need a mentor, because the mentor will understand or endeavor to understand how you think, how you process market data, and build a strategy with you that will suit your way of thinking. Okay, like I've mentioned before, if you can't find a mentor that will do this, because they are very rare. They are very rare. Most mentors will just put you in a group and give you generic data and info. However, you need a mentor that will hold your hand, have calls with you daily, scrutinize your trades, ensure you're sticking to your plan, have penalties when you do not stick to your plan, and but with the aim of getting you to profitability as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. Okay, now my mentoring program lasts 3 months only, and that's because I do not mess around. I do not mess around. I basically get you to profitability within 3 months. First week, we're basically learning what you need to know about Forex. You don't need to know everything about trading because to a large extent, too much information is actually one of the reasons people fail. You need to know what you need to know to place a trade and profit from that trade. Okay. The next 2 weeks will be spent building a strategy for you, a strategy that suits you, that you will not want to hop from. Okay. And then the rest of the time is basically spent honing that skill, going into trade after trade after trade after trade. But one thing that you will not find elsewhere is I will allocate my app, a proprietary app, an app I built to prevent or to stop you from going on tilt, an app I built to prevent you from having psychological setbacks in trading. I will attach or associate that app with your trading account, and that app will ensure that you are staying on track until the end of the 3 months. That almost guarantees that you will reach profitability by the end of the 3 months. But again, it's because the goal is to get you to profitability. The goal is not to to make money off a student. The goal is to get you to profitability. That is the goal, which is why it can be achieved in as little as 3 months. Now, like I've said before, you can go to my bio and click on the link there, which will get you on a free discovery call where I can understand what you want to achieve in trading, what your goals are. And if you think it's going to suit you, we can get you on a mentorship program for 3 months that will get you to profitability in 3 months. See you in the next video.